Early Edition with Carol Lynn and Leon Harris. Weekdays on CNN.
Tonight, Democrats Al Gore and Bill Bradley have squared off face-to-face for the first time in Campaign 2000. Who came out ahead? Here with scorecards, Bob Woodward of the Washington Post. Democrat Ann Richards, who lost the governorship of Texas to George W. Bush. The general chairman of the Democratic National Committee, Mayor Ed Rendell of Philadelphia. CNN's senior analyst, Jeff Greenfield. And then harsh words from Colorado's governor for John and Patsy Ramsey. We'll ask Governor Bill Owens about new evidence in the ongoing investigation into the murder of John Benet Ramsey. It's all next on Larry King Live. Before we get into our panel discussion and later an extraordinary news conference and our comments tonight on Larry King Live from the governor of Colorado, we're going to get an update from Dartmouth with Gloria Borger, the correspondent of U.S. News and World Report and commentator for CBS's Face the Nation. Gloria, are you with us? Is Gloria there? Okay, we checked her out. She was there but a moment ago. Mr. Woodward, quick analysis. Was this a debate?
No, it was a display forum in which both candidates were able to get up there and throw out a lot of ideas. I was struck by a couple of things. How serious it was, how particularly in Senator Bradley's case, he was able to be lofty and almost thematic in answering some of the questions, almost academic at times. That may be appealing to people, may not. In the case of Gore, he showed this kind of political spirit of, I want it, I am dying for it. And there was a kind of, hey, vote for me and I'll roll up my sleeves, which I think grabbed people.
Did anyone throw better?
No, but I mean, some people are going to have reactions. I mean, sometimes Gore didn't seem to answer the questions directly. But then a couple of times Bradley strayed also, so it's probably a toss-up.
Governor Richards, what's your review?
Well, I thought it was obvious on both sides about the issues they really cared about. When Gore started talking about the environment, he really got passionate about it, and he got very specific. And when Bradley was talking about education and the need to hire teachers and early childhood education and stuff like that, he really became far more animated. So just as a technician looking at performances, I would say that the guys have to care a great deal about the specific issues before they really project on the television. I don't think there was any win or lose. It wasn't set up that way, so that it was confrontational. It was more like walking past a really wonderful market and looking at the display and all of the things that might be available. And I suspect they'll hone their skills as the time goes on.
Now, Mayor Rendell, you have to remain neutral through all of this, correct?
Well, pretty much, Larry.
What do you mean, pretty much?
Well, I'm going to, within the bounds of neutrality, say what I think. And it's easy tonight because I've been saying, as you know, for the last 4 weeks, that there are 11 people thinking of running for president, and we have the two best candidates. And I think that was on display tonight, loud and clear. These are two knowledgeable, committed men, know the issues, don't just speak in platitudes, but they have the experience to come up with real solutions. I thought they both did well. Bill Bradley gave some exceptionally poignant answers. His answer, I thought, on gay rights and gays in the military was really poignant. His determination and his commitment to make urban education better, that's something that for me and mayors around the country rings true. But Al Gore, I thought, gave a great performance. I think you can take away the image of Al Gore as a stiff, deadly speaker and throw it in the trash can. He was charming, he was alive, his interplay with the audience was terrific. Even his joke, which I've heard about 18 times, even his joke was good.
Was he a little Clinton-esque, Mr. Mayor?
A little what? Clinton-esque?
Clinton-esque, asking where you're from, how many children you have, the kind of things that President Clinton does.
I think a lot more connecting with the audience than he's ever done before. So I think he gained a lot by that. But boy, the country saw in Bill Bradley a very sensitive person who's committed to, as Jeff said, some very lofty ideals.
Jeff Greenfield, your look at this opening round.
Couple of points. you really saw both campaigns in microcosm here. Al Gore went into this town meeting trying to make it more like a political debate, clearly intended to raise the issue that Bill Bradley is a dangerous big spender. He will spend so much of the money on his risky schemes that there won't be any money left for anything else. And he went back to that not just once, but 2 or 3 times, the way you do in a debate. I want to come back to that issue. That's what he would say. Second, very much so, Larry, he took some lessons from the Clinton playbook, particularly from that 1992 sort of Oprah Winfrey style debate, where he would try to engage with the audience. Tell me something about yourself. Tell me how many kids you have. Tell me about your school. Tell me about your hometown. And in contrast, Bradley really didn't rise to the bait. At one point he said, I contest your cost estimates, but he has been saying from the beginning he's not going to get into this kind of point-counterpoint stuff. And I do think that Mayor Rendell is right. For a guy like Bradley, who has a reputation of being very cerebral and almost academic, he clearly has honed his skills at making broader points.
So are you saying, Jeff, they both did well?
They did what they wanted to do. I cannot stand this notion of, the 10-point must system and 3 knockdowns. It's mindless. We're going to do it, but not today.
But my point is, let's say you were an open, independent Democrat and totally undecided, and you're watching this tonight. Right. It is a point, isn't it? Who did well? You're walking home now in New Hampshire. What are you saying to the wife?
You're saying it's a first impression. And my point is, I think people would come away from this seeing in Bill Bradley a more eloquent person than his reputation, and seeing in Al Gore a more spirited one. But that's only the beginning. What we don't know, and what I don't, frankly, have the ability to see into people's minds is, do they think Al Gore seemed too rehearsed? Do they think Bill Bradley seemed too detached? Don't know.
Is this a new Al Gore, Bob? And then we can all jump in a minute, guys.
Okay.
The light color suits, the let's stay and I'll answer more questions.
Yeah, it is, but it works, and that's part of the inner Gore. There's no question about that at all. I think what's interesting, if you pull back the camera a little bit, is that Bradley projected a kind of presidential, almost Olympian calm. And if there's something people want in a president, it's somebody who's steady in the buggy. Reagan, Clinton, both in their own ways, and Bradley kind of has that demeanor of, I can handle anything, nothing is going to throw me off my game. So the rise of Bradley as a plausible challenger to Gore is now made more plausible, probably. Now, I agree with Jeff totally. This is the first couple of innings of a playoff game.
We'll be right back. We'll pick up with Ann Richards. We'll take some of your phone calls. This is Larry King Live. Don't go away.
You need a president that is going to make campaign finance reform one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 issues, because he recognizes how it is connected to our ability to insure more Americans, to our ability to reduce child poverty. From my perspective, there is no issue that is so linked to other issues as campaign finance reform. That's why it is an imperative.
I think it's very important to set a higher standard, because what I want to do as president, if you elect me president, I promise you I will fight my heart out to get meaningful campaign finance reform and get the influence of big money out of our political system.
Larry King Live is brought to you by Touchstone Energy, bringing you the power of human connections. And by Fidelity. We help you invest responsibly. Visit us at fidelity.com.
As you might expect, Teller and I don't see eye to eye on investing. I like to avoid risk. Teller's a little more daring. We do, however, share the same new way to trade online.
Introducing Power Street by Fidelity, the first site with trading tools customized by Lycos to fit your life, your goals, your unique way of doing things.
Look, the market's up. Or, in your case, down.
Power Street Online Trading. Call or visit fidelity.com to open an account.
Years before America's electric cooperatives forged the nationwide alliance, Touchstone Energy, neighbors built their own electric utility to power lives and communities. Now Touchstone Energy cooperatives serve millions of homes and businesses. Customers large and small get state-of-the-art technology and affordable service. From the one-room schoolhouse to the communities and businesses of tomorrow, trust Touchstone Energy, the power of human connections. We are America's electric cooperatives.
flexible metal frame. Flex-On by Marchon.
Hello? Yeah, where are you? No. Excuse me, I'm working. It's your opera and I'm gonna catch a red eye tonight, yeah. That's right. What? Ah!
Stay in touch without disturbing anyone with two-way paging and email from SkyTel for first name and advanced messaging.
Before we pick up with our panel, we have connected now with Gloria Borger at Dartmouth, New Hampshire. There she is, the correspondent for U.S. News and World Report, commentator for CBS Face the Nation. Before we go back to our panel, a few comments from Gloria. What's that noise behind you?
Well, this is a college campus, Larry, as you pointed out. So it's everything from Save Our Forests to East Timor to who knows what. You know, it's a great opportunity here, right?
Gloria, what was your read? You were there tonight. What was the mood in the hall? What did it feel like? What's your approach?
First of all, Larry, there are 300 plus journalists here, and I should tell you that we weren't in the hall. We were kind of in a room down the hall watching this on a large screen, and every time Bill Bradley said something of note, the Al Gore rapid response folks would come in with a printed page and distribute it, which was the rapid response from Al Gore. You may recall this from the Clinton-Gore campaigns. Those things seem to work pretty well. At this point, they almost seem to be a self-parody. But my sense was, Larry, quite frankly, that these were two men who both wanted to appear the most authentic to the American public. This was Bill Bradley's real chance to introduce himself on a larger scale through CNN to New Hampshire voters and to a national audience. And this was Al Gore's chance to step out and say, I'm not just the guy who stood behind Bill Clinton for the last 7 years. I'm really my own person. And I want to present myself to you in a different light, which was why it's kind of interesting to me, Larry, the first question out of the box in which someone asked about public cynicism and the amount that the Clinton administration had contributed to that, Al Gore said, I know you're angry with Bill Clinton, and I'm angry with him too. And so he sort of raised Bill Clinton's name immediately, got that out of the way, distanced himself, and then went on to be his own person.
Was this, Gloria, in your opinion, a good night for the former senator?
I think it was a good night for both of them. I hate to be so mushy about this, but I think that they both did what they wanted to do. I think Bill Bradley got a chance to present himself as the outsider candidate. He talked about why he left the Senate, and he left the Senate to pursue bigger thoughts, bigger ideas, to think about big issues. And I think Al Gore got an opportunity to show off his experience, to talk about his expertise, and he also took a couple of whacks at Bill Bradley, one of which was on, as you know, health care, saying that Bradley's proposing something that he can't pay for, and so you can be sure that there's going to be a substantive discussion about that. And in a way, the American voter wins because we could use some substantive discussions.
And what, Gloria, was the buzz among the journalists?
I think we were all sort of, it was like the Thriller in Manila, right? But it really wasn't. I think we know both of these gentlemen. They've been around the public arena for quite some time right now. We know Bradley to be a very thoughtful guy who doesn't speak in sound bites. He speaks in paragraphs, if you will, and likes to form his thoughts slowly. And I think we were all watching Al Gore, but we've kind of adjusted to the different Al Gore by now. We've been out on the campaign trail with him. We've seen him in New Hampshire. So I don't think the journalists in the room were particularly surprised by anything that happened tonight.
Thank you, Gloria. We'll be seeing lots of you on the campaign trail. Gloria Borger of U.S. News and World Report and CBS's Face the Nation. Now, Ann Richards was going to comment, I think, on something Bob Wood was saying. Ann?
Well, Larry, I thought really part of the story tonight was the audience. If tonight's discussion lays the predicate for what we're going to see through this entire presidential campaign, you're not going to be, as a candidate, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, be able to get away with sloganistic kind of politics. You're going to have to be really well-versed and briefed on all of the issues, because this audience showed tonight that they really care about the specifics. And I was really intrigued by that. They didn't, I didn't think they let these guys get away with laying out just some sort of broad brush phrase to try to dismiss an issue. And I think you're going to see more of that as this year goes on.
We'll take a break and pick up with Ed Rendell and Bob and Jeff Greenfield and the whole group. Don't go away.
Just today, the respected Emory School of Public Health came out with a nonpartisan analysis of both my plan and Senator Bradley's, and they said that his plan costs $1.2 trillion. That is more than the entire surplus over the next 10 years.
Ours will cost between $50 and $65 billion a year. It will come either from the surplus. We have $1 trillion surplus over the next 10 years, and that's enough to take care of this program, or it will come through the enormous savings that we can get through the application of technology to the medical system.
Your telecom integration.
Okay, it's not my call. We gotta look at Williams Communications. They can make LANs talk to WANs, talk to toaster ovens if you want. Plus, they've got thousands of feet on the street to keep our network working. Williams has it all. Data, voice, video, internet, integration, telepathy. I hear they have telepathy services, Sandy. We'll already know what our customers want. It's brilliant.
It's telephony.
Telepathy, I know.
No. Telephony.
Telepathy, I've got it.
No, telephony.
I'm glad you like it.
Communications has reached a new point, a point where every person has the power to connect with anyone from anywhere, at any time, in new ways, better ways. A point where every business has the power to connect its people and customers more closely. A single point where you can email, fax, plan your day, transforming the way we communicate. That point is here at mail.com.
Tylenol House Call. Information for healthy living.
Watching Wayne Gretzky, you'd never know the great one could have common arthritis.
When my doctor told me that my aches and pains could be the early signs of arthritis, I was really surprised.
It's not unusual. Millions of Americans under 50 have arthritis. Millions more are at risk. What should you look for? Risk factors include an active occupation, past injury, family history, age, and weight. Early signs of common arthritis include joint pain and stiffness. Well, what do you do for your arthritis pain?
I take Tylenol.
The first choice of doctors for arthritis pain is the medicine and Tylenol Arthritis Extended Relief. Tylenol works as well as the leading arthritis prescription, but it's much gentler on your stomach. So Wayne, how does it feel to be retired?
Pretty good. These days it's fun to be knocked around.
Could your pain and stiffness be the early signs of common arthritis? Talk to your doctor, like Wayne Gretzky did.
Tylenol House Call is brought to you by Tylenol Arthritis.
Mayor Rendell, who, by the way, is in Pittsburgh tonight. Do you think your party your party came out well tonight all the way around?
Oh, without question, Larry. Again, you saw the two most qualified, most experienced candidates who knew their stuff. They had their stuff together. They were right on top of the issues. They gave good, detailed responses, and they spoke with passion. I think Bob said that at the beginning. They both were passionate, and Ann said they were particularly passionate about issues they care about. I thought they were good throughout. And you contrast that. I mean, George W. Bush, it seems like a very nice guy, but he's been governor in a state where it has a very weak governor form of government. He hasn't done very much, and he certainly doesn't have the experience level that these two candidates have, nor has he had the decision-making tests thrown in his way. So I think it's a great night for the Democratic Party. Great night.
Jeff, was there any point tonight where you were disappointed in either one of them? And maybe any answer they may have given that surprised you?
I'm not sure surprised. You know, the problem sometimes with us journalists is we go to these debates and we wait for the great mistake, like somebody to leap up and yell all power to Satan, which tends not to happen too often. I do think that toward the end of the debate, I heard the vice president do what I'd seen him do in New Hampshire in 1988 when he was running for president and briefly toured New Hampshire before deciding to start his campaign elsewhere. And that is that the vice president does have this tendency to answer lots of questions with a program. I sponsored this, I co-sponsored this. And the details of legislative programs, while detailed and while substantive, sometimes I think can create a kind of eye glaze in an audience. And I think toward the end you heard some of that. I also think, I must say, I don't know if I was disappointed, but when a candidate is asked to list great leaders, Bill Bradley tonight gave the most idiosyncratic list of leaders I've ever heard. You know, you always say Lincoln, FDR, Jefferson, but he listed Woodrow Wilson, an internationalist idealist who most historians think didn't do right. Jimmy
But he was
Carter.
a Princeton man. He was a Princeton man.
I understand. That may be it. Jimmy Carter, who was the great ex-president, but does not rank highly among most people as a president, and Mikhail Gorbachev. This is the first time a candidate for president has ever cited a communist as an admirable leader. We've definitely seen something different. And what it shows you, quite seriously, though, is that Bradley really, for good or ill, I don't know the politics of this yet, is marching to his own drum. That is not a focus group answer.
Yeah. Well, did anybody lose tonight?
To a certain extent, I would say one of the losers is Pat Buchanan, because Buchanan now has bolded the Republican Party, running for the Reform Party nomination, claiming that both parties are two wings of the same bird of prey. In other words, that these are dangerous people in both political parties. Anyone looking at this display, discussion, debate tonight would not say these are two dangerous people who are wings or parts of a bird of prey. So people looking at that are going to say, hey, wait a minute. One theme in both Gore's statements and Bradley's statements is we are going to reform. Both of them very passionate about campaign finance reform.
We'll take a break and come back with more. We'll include some of your phone calls still to come later. Governor Bill Owens of Colorado. What a statement he made today concerning the John Benet Ramsey matter. We'll be right back.
I say to the American people that if I'm President of the United States, when it comes to urban public education, we're going to try this, we're going to try that, we're going to experiment here, experiment there, but we are going to improve urban public education. It's enough, and change has to come.
It's not just a question of more money. Some of the problems will require more money, but it's about standards.
At Cigna, we care about people who have babies. We care about companies that make steel and about companies that make bread. We care about life and about all that makes life great or possible or just better. At Cigna, we care because it is our business to care. But we also care because, well, we have babies too. Cigna, a business of caring.
Need stamps again.
Ew. With eStamp internet postage, you can buy and print postage whenever you want. eStamp, postage when you need it.
What we're going to be doing is we're going to slip into the woods over here, and we're going to be looking for some turkey scratching.
Here, turkey, turkey, turkey. Here, turkey, turkey, turkey. I did it.
Well, those are geese.
Introducing Cozone.com, the place to find computer help and buy what's right for you.
I think they like that.
Cozone.com, we can help.
Governor Richards, the more liberal end of your party, you think that anyone there, let's say like Warren Beatty, might have been dismayed by tonight's debate? I mean, dismayed to the point of saying it wouldn't pay to get in?
Oh, I doubt it. You know, I think if anybody comes in who's not what we'll call a mainstream candidate, but someone who's more on the fringe, they're going to get in there because they want to talk about a specific issue or a cause or something. I thought, though, tonight there was a tension between these two men. I think you had a feeling that maybe later on we're going to kick some shins here.
Is that the right body part?
I felt a little electricity going between the two, and while they very definitely had their individual plan for how they wanted the evening to go, and I think they accomplished that, I think this thing's going to heat up before it's over.
Mayor, would you agree?
I think it'll heat up a little bit, and I think the issue of the surplus and fiscal stability is clearly going to be a major issue. I think the Vice President intends to make it a major issue. But look, you heard the answers tonight. The differences are at the margins. These are both two candidates committed to doing the things that I think the American people want to hear. So I don't think it'll get too rough. There'll be some kicking the shins is a good analogy.
Jeff, Al Gore never responded to the don't ask, don't tell in the military. He covered everything else with regard to gays, except he was formally strongly against gay marriage and didn't comment on gays in the military. Do you think Bradley, in the area of the gay vote, stood strong there tonight?
Well, this is one of those areas where it is probably correct to say that Bradley is running to the left of Gore, because Bradley is saying flat out, gays ought to be able to serve openly in the military. That is not the policy of the Clinton-Gore administration. And it does raise some questions, not just about that area, but others, is whether or not we are going to see a replay of what used to happen in the Democratic Party and has sometimes happened in the Republican Party, where you appeal to your base. With the Democrats, you try to run as left as you can, and sometimes when you get to a general election, that can create problems. I'm not sure that's true in the area of gay rights, because President Clinton has shown you can be pretty strongly for gay rights and win, in centrist regions. But I think Al Gore was trying to be very careful not to tar himself with some of those mushy areas. For instance, in campaign finance reform, he was very eloquent saying he was for it, and you'll notice that Senator Bradley did not raise the issue of Vice President Gore's behavior in 1996. He was invited to.
Yeah, he threw one line and left it. Yeah, why do you think he did that?
Because, I don't know what he's right, it's clear that the Bradley campaign, and this comes right from the senator, believes that the public is so fed up with the you're another, nya, nya, nya kind of politicking, that the more he can show that he is beyond that, the more it's going to make Al Gore's attack seem like politics as usual.
Agree, Bob?
I disagree with one thing. I'm not sure that the base of the Democratic Party is left or liberal anymore. I think the base of the party, I think Bill Clinton's been so successful because he reflects what is the base of our party, and I'd say it's a moderate base. There aren't a lot of liberals in Philadelphia.
That's why, Mayor, there are a lot of liberals, though. There are liberals who are mad at both of these fellas and thinking maybe we should go elsewhere, as you well know. But you were going to say something about, where do you go?
Where do you go?
I thought one of the interesting things...
Hold on, Ann, let Bob finish.
No, just real quickly, I thought one of the things that Gore did quite well, though he visibly showed some discomfort at this, was the very piercing question, what's your biggest mistake? Now, there's no question anyone hates more. And he stepped right up to the plate and said, it's the choice of words I used in claiming that he created invented the internet.
The answer was something like, I trust too much.
Yeah.
I'm too good.
I'm too good. Ann, you were going to say we got a minute before the break.
Gore's part.
Ann?
Well, I really did like that specificity. But when you talk about the party itself, the core base of this party is for human rights, is for civil rights, and it is across the board, whether it is women or gays or blacks or
But that's not a left
Asians
view, Ann.
I don't think it's a left view either. I think it's an American view. I've always thought that. And I think that is our base.
Let me get a break. We'll try to get a few calls in our remaining moments with our panel. And then the governor of Colorado. This is Larry King Live. Don't go away.
We have taken the inner meaning and power of our founding documents and the spirit of America and breathed new life into them in each new generation. And the time has come for gays and lesbians to be recognized within the circle of human dignity.
We have to get to a time in America where we can see beneath skin color, eye shape, or sexual orientation to the individual. Because that is when we're going to be able to achieve the dignity that I think America stands for.
Sunday, advances and breakthroughs pose questions for the future. Visions 21, questions for the next century. Sunday, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Even with its impressive power, remarkable handling, and legendary capability, Jeep Grand Cherokee can still be leased for just $359 a month. Maybe that's why everyone's going out of their way to get a look at it. The $359 a month Grand Cherokee lease. Check one out at your Jeep dealer.
What's a Freeman Wellwood? A different kind of discount broker. No churn and burn, or costly roundabout answers. You get free information and great rates by phone, the internet, or at a local office from a real live broker. So, what's a Freeman Wellwood? A whole new spin on discount brokers.
In downtown Portland at 2nd and Alder.
Sports Tonight with Fred and Vince, 11 Eastern on CNN.
We're back following the first debate between Mr. Bradley and Gore, or actually the town meeting in New Hampshire, with Ann Richards, the former governor of Texas. She's in San Francisco. In Pittsburgh is Ed Rendell, the mayor of Philadelphia and general chair of the Democratic National Committee. Here in Washington, Bob Woodward, the Pulitzer Prize-winning assistant managing editor of the Washington Post. And in New York is Jeff Greenfield, CNN senior news analyst. Let's take a call from Chicago. Hello.
Yes. I think Bradley fared better. He got more applause for his answers than Al Gore. It looked like Clinton up there telling jokes. When you listen to a debate, you want to hear a debate, not some kind of a
Do you have a
comic
question?
show.
Do you have a question?
Yes. Did you notice how Al Gore was sweating?
Did you notice how Al Gore was sweating? By the way, Woodward said, they're all laughing, but Woodward said that to me. You said he's sweating.
He's sweating. I don't know. Maybe it was hot up there. He clearly was excited and
The lady is
engaged.
commenting on appearances. It is true, Ann, is it not, that Bradley got more applause? Did he have more applause
Yeah,
lines?
and I wondered about that, because I assumed that they probably screened that audience to make sure that it was evenly split. And I wrote down applause, and there was no question that the audience was kind of waiting to respond to Bradley affirmatively. So, maybe they had a few ringers sneak in there.
I think it's a college town, and I think a college town is going to be generally, and you don't want to make generalizations, but a little bit more receptive to Bill than to Al. But boy, I thought Al did a great job of engaging the audience and getting them he's sort of on his side. I thought they both did well. And
Jeff, what about appearances? Al Gore's new look, the suit that's kind of khaki green, the different color shirt, the movements on stage.
You know, Al Gore's biggest problem is that, particularly among journalists, there's a feeling that it's like a guy who learned to dance at Arthur Murray's, where you can almost see him trying to figure out where the steps are on the floor and those dotted lines are. And I think, fairly or not, there's this notion that if Al Gore is wearing a light-colored suit, he's focus grouped it. He's done a poll. I don't know if that's true. I mean, the way I remember Bradley, I used to cover him when he was with the Knicks, and one thing I can tell you about Bill Bradley is that he's not what you would, he is sartorially challenged, I think.
Yes.
And I think I actually think Bradley figures out the heck with it. I'm going to wear whatever suit I want. And I think that we journalists put these people under such a microscope that every time they change their clothes, we assume that it was a deliberate political reason, and it might well be.
Bob, you mentioned about Al Gore referring to Tipper frequently.
Yes, that's right. Half a dozen times he said, "Tipper and I, Tipper's doing this. I would support this."
Man, do you think?
Yeah, no, I think it reflects a real connection that he has on these policy issues in the campaign.
One more quick call, Anchorage, Alaska. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to know, what effect will this head-to-head talk between the Democratic candidates have on the Republicans? Will this get George W. Bush out of his yellow rose garden and start participating in Republican...
Ann, will it?
Well, I think he's going to have to be pretty specific, and I said at the beginning, I don't think the American public is going to let him get away with what is George's thing, compassionate conservatism. That isn't going to be enough. You're going to have to be specific about what you're going to do and how you're going to pay for it, and that audience tonight showed that.
And the first thing he's got to do is show up at the debates. He's
got to be there.
He's got to be there.
Half of winning, as Woody Allen said, is showing up. So, Jeff, in quick analysis, this is just first inning.
I think take a step back from this and you see what the campaign's premises are. And by far, Bill Bradley has the riskier premise, namely, I don't have to behave the way most politicians do. I don't have to answer attacks right now. I'm marching to my own drum, and we'll see what happens. And you know, but to take this first debate and draw conclusions about who's ahead and who's behind, no thanks.
Amen, Mr. Woodward?
Well, I think we misread the public reaction sometimes as journalists. And for instance, Bradley's answer to the question, why did you leave the Senate, which is an issue that Gore has posed, saying, you know, that he ran and left. Bradley had a very good answer to that would resonate with people. He said, I left the Senate to engage people outside of D.C., Washington, the evil inside the Beltway, and then he gave very specific things he was doing. So that's very appealing to voters.
We thank you all very much. We'll be seeing lots of you, of course, along the trail. Jeff Greenfield, Bob Woodward, Ed Rendell, and Ann Richards, and earlier Gloria Borgia. When we come back, Governor Bill Owens, who had an extraordinary press conference in Colorado today concerning the enigma that is the murder of John Benet Ramsey. Don't go away.
To the killers of John Benet Ramsey, let me say this. You only think you have gotten away with murder. There is strong evidence to suggest who you are. I believe that investigators are moving closer to proving their case. They will keep pursuing you. And I'm confident that each day brings us closer to the day when you will reap what you have sown.
I have a dream.
My first priority
is being ein Berliner.
The idea of an evolving universe, I believe that that's an idea that is here to stay for a long time.
Well, the Big Bang Theory, I mean, all it says is that the universe was hot and dense a long time ago, and now it's much less so, and that is the backbone within which we interpret all the data we acquire about the universe.
We're finding our origins. We're finding the most profound story ever told. We're finding the very first indications of the beginning of the universe, which means not only space and matter and energy, but also, we think, time itself.
The whole universe has blossomed from that singularity, as it's called, into this vast and evolving array in which we play some sort of small and as yet not very well discerned part.
From looking at distant supernovae, which are exploding stars, we're getting a clue that the universe is expanding in a way that will maybe continue forever, and in any case, for an extremely long time.
This Voices of the Millennium is brought to you by Zales, the diamond store. Forever starts today with a diamond from Zales.
Zales reminds you that a new millennium only comes along once every 1,000 years. And if you've had the good fortune to have fallen in love at this time, there's only one way to mark the occasion. With the Diamond Solitaire from the Zales Signature Collection. An exquisite single diamond is a powerful gift. It has the power to take two people and make them one. At Zales stores nationwide, or shop online at zales.com.
If you expect your people to start thinking out of the box, they need to stop working in one. Hayworth, furniture for what's next.
At Oldie, we see every client as unique. Take Jane and Alan Barker, owners of a sporting goods store and former customers of a full-cost broker. To help secure their retirement, they switched their business accounts and IRAs to Oldie. Along with no annual fee accounts, Oldie provides advice and dramatic commission savings over full-cost firms. Spend your time focused on life. Call Oldie, America's full-service discount broker.
As we age, our joints can make simple actions more difficult. But now you can help support the flexibility of your joints with pain-free glucosamine and chondroitin. Pain-free helps rebuild and protect joint cartilage. Move better, feel better with pain-free from Schiff.
an insurance company that believes the most important thing they cover is the risk you didn't think of? Without question, the St. Paul.
Joining us now from Denver is Governor Bill Owens of Colorado. A very surprising press conference today in which the governor announced that not only will he not appoint a special prosecutor, but that there's new evidence and they're forging ahead, and he addressed the killers to say that you haven't gotten away with murder. Why plural, Governor Owens? You know something we don't know.
Well, Larry, I had two purposes in terms of this press conference. The first was to walk through the reasons why I didn't believe a special prosecutor would help us over the short term bring this case to justice. And the second was to let Colorado know that the work that the police and prosecutors have done in this case, we've amassed a significant amount of evidence. That evidence is evidence that I hope someday will lead us to be able to prosecute this case. While it's not beyond a reasonable doubt, that's the standard that we have to meet here in terms of bringing a felony case to trial. I think that we're on the road, and I'm hopeful that at some point in the future we'll be able to bring this case to trial.
So when they said they didn't have enough evidence, do you say that there's more you know than that they announced at that press conference a couple weeks ago?
No, I agree with their decision, and the prosecutors said that at this point we don't have enough evidence to bring this case to trial. What I was really addressing is a feeling that seems to be out there that after 3 years and $2 million and all of these prosecutors and detectives working on the case, why is it that we can't bring it to prosecution, bring it to trial? Well, the reason is that the suspects in this case are very smart. They did a good job of covering their tracks. They made some mistakes. We have a lot of evidence, but again, it's not yet enough evidence to meet the standard of beyond a reasonable doubt.
When you use the word suspects and you say to both parents, please come in and talk to us and cooperate with the police, I mean, it looks like if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it acts like a duck, you're saying it's a duck. They are the suspects. Or am I putting words in your mouth?
That would be, well, that would be, I'd rather let the prosecutors characterize that. I think that
what did you mean when you said
well known. Well, they're within the umbrella of suspicion is the way that the police chief has put it, and I would characterize that way.
What do you want them specifically to do?
You know, we could use more assistance from the Ramseys. They have lawyered up early. In many cases, they've not been willing to talk to the police, to the prosecutors. My wife and I have 3 children, one of whom is almost the exact age of John Bonet that John Bonet would be today. Our 8-year-old is the age that John Bonet would have been had she lived. If this happened in our house, I wouldn't have handled it the way they have. I wouldn't have gone and gotten attorneys. I wouldn't have gotten a PR firm to represent me. I wouldn't have called and had the plane gassed up for an early departure. I would have said, tell me what you want to know. I'm here to help. Take my DNA. You don't have to negotiate with me. It's been a very difficult process working with the Ramseys, and I think that has delayed our ability to move on in this case.
We spoke with Linda McLean tonight, our staff did, a very close friend of the Ramseys. She spoke to Patsy today. Patsy said she was in shock. She said now they're never going to find out who the killer was. What's your response to that? She's quoting, so I'm giving to you secondhand, but she's quoting Patsy.
So Patsy Ramsey says because of my remarks today, we're never going to find who the killer is? I don't understand.
Yeah, she finally said, who's going to find my daughter's killer? I guess meaning that you're implying that they're not going to cooperate. She said she was in shock, and she said, I guess she expects the worst.
Well, I don't know what, I really can't respond to what Mrs. Ramsey says. What I do know is that the prosecutors have done an incredible amount of work in this case, along with the police. There were some mistakes made at the very start of this case. I think those mistakes have been rectified. There is a continuing investigation that's ongoing. My purpose today in terms of the press conference was, again, first of all, to announce my reasons for not calling a special prosecutor, and second, to suggest that there is a lot of evidence in this case, that progress has been made, and I'm hopeful that progress will continue to be made.
I'll just tell you what Patsy told us. She'd been out and not heard the news conference. When Linda told her about it, she was silent for a while, and then she said, "Now who's going to find my daughter's killer?" She said she realized she cared more than about... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that hopefully the prosecutors and the detectives on the case are going to find the killer, and I hope that Mrs. Ramsey will help us do that. As I said in my press conference, no matter where that trail may lead.
Thank you, and of course we were quoting, as we said twice, Linda McLean. We'll come right back with more of Governor Bill Owens of Colorado after this.
Two forces brought together by human ingenuity create a power greater than either apart. Put the powers of world-class corporate and investment banking to work for your company and watch your possibilities take flight. Citibank and Solomon Smith Barney. Because we can, you can.
Online shoppers everywhere trust their bargain hunting to GTE. Thousands of builders trust their reputations to Boise Cascade. Millions of people trust their entertainment to the MGM Grand. When it comes to your organization's network, who are you going to trust? Cabletron Systems, your e-business communication specialist.
Hi, I'm Pat Seashore, and I'm an engineer for Mercury.
That's Scott, my husband.
She comes up to about here on me. He is 6'1", and he's also very large. So he sits in a car a lot differently than I do. For the new 2000 Mercury Sable, we put adjustable foot pedals in the car. The pedals work by coming toward the driver 3 inches and down about a ½ inch. I can sit further back, be more comfortable. Nowadays, we have a lot of freedom at Mercury to look for new ideas and make them happen.
I'm a professional vandal. I break in, damage, destroy. I'm Peter Day, and I train our claims adjusters at Liberty Mutual Insurance to help them understand what it's like to lose a home. I help them build one, then I destroy it. It makes us better at assessing damage from storms, fires, and just about anything else that threatens your home.
At Liberty Mutual, we have hundreds of experts helping you live a safer, more secure life. It's insurance in action.
Think of it as tough love.
Governor, you're saying that there's a reasonable belief that more than one person is involved. You're also saying the Ramseys should stop hiding behind their attorneys. It's well known that at least Patsy Ramsey was the target of the grand jury investigation. Aren't you implicitly saying John and Patsy Ramsey, in your view, are in all likelihood responsible?
No comment.
Now, Governor, you said it seems that no comment was pointed, but you also said, based on the evidence available to me, they're targeting the right murder suspects, and he said the investigators knew the identity of the suspects. Well, who else could you be talking about?
Well, the investigators certainly know who the suspects are because that's who they're working to develop a case on. There have been literally scores of suspects who have been examined in this case in terms of either calls that come in, men and women that have had DNA tests performed on them. I think that there are right now several suspects, and that's what I referred to. Again, I think that it's been badly misunderstood how much work has gone into this case, how much evidence has been amassed. I can't speak to that evidence, but I would suggest that the prosecution and the detectives have, over the last 3 years, not been idle. Unfortunately, they still haven't amassed the evidence that takes us beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the standard in Colorado, and it's... Go ahead.
Standard everywhere. Are you impressed by the statement of the DA investigator Lou Smith, with 32 years of experience, who said that he thinks they're not guilty at all?
You know, I really can't comment on Mr. Smith, but I think that the investigators have considered his opinion, have considered the evidence that he presented in terms of a so-called stun gun, in terms of other allegations that Mr. Smith has made, and those have been investigated and unfortunately dismissed. I mean, it would be great news if we could move this investigation and pursue real leads, but his leads didn't really pan out, it's my understanding.
We'll take a break, and the key question will be, and we'll ask it of you, Governor, do you think these killer or killers are going to be caught, apprehended, and tried? We'll be right back with our remaining moments with the Governor of Colorado, Bill Owens, right after this.
Osteoporosis causes bones to become brittle and break. But there's something you can do to help prevent it. Take Citracal, the calcium supplement clinically proven to help stop bone loss. Citracal is different. It's calcium citrate, which is easily absorbed to help you stay active. And Citracal can be taken anytime, with or without food. So do what's right for your bones. Take Citracal.
Style. It hit me the minute I walked in. It oozed from the upholstery. It dripped from the chandeliers. Yeah, the air was thinner up there on the avenue. This dame was platinum all the way.
Sheer glamour in a seductively priced new collection.
Make yourself at home, she said. So I did.
Avenue from Ethan Allen. There's a sale on now.
Governor, and is this investigation going to lead to an arrest?
You know, I hope so. At this point, it's difficult to say. Again, there's a lot of evidence, but they're still pursuing some leads. And I join all of Colorado and all the country hoping someday we bring these killers to justice.
As a governor, you also have to admit ineptitude on the part of both prosecutors and police, at least early on, wouldn't you?
Uh-huh. Yeah, in fact, they've admitted that. Both the prosecutor and the police chief have said, sure, there'd be things they would do differently, things that weren't handled well the first time around.
Who did you consult with the Attorney General and others before making the decision that you didn't need a special prosecutor?
You know, Larry, we had 3 other district attorneys that I asked to join me. We had the Attorney General. We had a former Chief Judge of the Colorado Supreme Court. I'm not an attorney, so I asked these experts to join with me. All of us interviewed the prosecution team, the police chief, the detectives involved in the case. All agreed with my decision. It was their recommendation, which I then concurred with, that we didn't have enough evidence to bring a case at this time.
Governor,
that's why I haven't called a special prosecutor.
Everything, I guess, is considered political. There are some who might say, are you trying to distance yourself from this in some regard by, not appointing a special prosecutor, stepping back?
No, in fact, if I wanted to be political, I could have stepped back and not said that I, in fact, think that at this point the investigation is on track. I've today said that while there were some initial mistakes, I'm confident that today's prosecutor, the detectives working on the case are capable of doing the job. So quite the opposite of being political. Easiest thing would have been to critique them, criticize them, and in fact call for a special prosecutor.
And Governor, what you're saying also, and I just want to repeat what you said earlier, that if this were you and this were your daughter and you did not commit this crime, you'd have reacted completely differently than the Ramseys have acted.
Absolutely. If I woke up in the middle of the night, found my daughter missing, hours later found my child dead in the basement of our house, I would have handled it differently. I would have said, please do everything you need to eliminate me as a suspect so that you can go after the killer. Take my DNA, talk to me, talk to my wife. Here's my address book. Tell me what you need from me, because I want you to eliminate me so that you can go after the killer. That isn't how the Ramseys acted. That doesn't by itself mean they're guilty, obviously. But they did not act the way that I think most people would act who had the loss of a child within their house.
You also said that the killers were, and this is your quote, smart and they have stonewalled effectively and covered their tracks well, meaning?
Well, I think that the killers have, in fact, I said that they had made some mistakes, but they're also very smart in terms of covering up. The way that the killers have left the crime scene, some of the things that have occurred within the house where the killings took place, took place. I think that they have done a good job of covering up the crime, and that's why 3 years later we haven't been able to bring an indictment.
Governor, frankly, has this been an embarrassment to Colorado?
You know, it's certainly, I'm not as concerned about it being an embarrassment to Colorado. I'm concerned about the tragedy of having a child like John Bonet or any of our children murdered in such a way. That's what's driving us in this case, and whether it reflects on Colorado is almost incidental to the tragedy that we've all felt in terms of this senseless murder.
And you're confident that that team of people that were in place before, in place now, are going to continue working with this evidence you say they have and gathering more evidence to hopefully bring this killer, or as you say, killers, to justice?
I'm hopeful that that's going to occur, and as you know, there have been significant changes on both the prosecution side and the police side since the initial days of this tragedy. There were changes in the police chief and some of the detectives on the case, also changes in terms of bringing in new prosecutors to look at this case anew. And so with the team that's been in place for the last year and a half, I am confident that they are up to the job, if anybody is, of bringing these killers to justice. That's not to say that I'm hopeful of an indictment in the short term or the medium term or even ever. But if anybody can do it, I think we have a team in.
For all your financial news all the time, CNNFN.com. On the web, 24 hours a day.
Get the world and business news you need to get a jump on your day. Ahead of the Curve. Weekday mornings from 5 to 7 Eastern on CNN.
Who needs a bank that specializes in business? Call us. You'll be in good company. Centennial Bank. Open for business.
Next time you're thinking of buying a new or used car on the internet, click this. AutomallUSA.com.
This is the coast that's cherished by the tribe that built the casino, that created the fund, that gives to the program, that gathers the people, that clean up the coast.
Cleaning up Oregon's beaches and rivers in a partnership with Solve. Another example of giving back to Oregonians by the Grand Ronde Tribe and Spirit Mountain Community Fund.
The action, the excitement, the glory. The NFL on ESPN. From our studio shows to a full season of ESPN Sunday Night Football. ESPN has the best in-depth coverage of the NFL on and off the field. The NFL is on ESPN.
Brought to you locally by your Northwest Ford dealer.